Hello friends, in this lecture we will learn about slave dynasty, post-Gauri period. Gauri died without an heir and after his death the empire is split into minor sultanate ruled by Mamluk general. Mamluk was uh, Quranic word for slave. So the empire divided into small sultanate. The core territory Gauri. Gauri was region in central Afghanistan. It was ruled by Ghiat al-Din Mahmud. Ghiat al-Din Mahmud was nephew of Gauri. Then Ghazni region. Ghazni was eastern Afghanistan region and it was ruled by Tajuddin Yildoj. Multan region was ruled by Nasiruddin Kubacha. Delhi was ruled by Kutubuddin Aibak and Bengal region was ruled by Bakhtiyar Khilji. So the regions are mentioned in west to east order, in west to east direction. So Gauri was in western direction, then Ghazni next to Gauri, then Multan next to Ghazni, then Delhi next to Multan, and then Bengal region next to Delhi. And Mamluks were soldiers of slave origin who converted to Islam for better treatment, and the conversion was gradual. And it was the Kutubuddin Aibak who led the foundation of Delhi Sultanate. And during the time of Kutubuddin Aibak, um, Multan, Ghazni, and Bengal become the part of Delhi Sultanate. So the territory controlled by Delhi Sultanate was roughly this much territory. The map shows the territory of slave dynasty, and during the reign of Iltutmish, they start sharing border with Mongol. So before starting slave dynasty, let's have a look on Delhi Sultanate, uh, an overview on Delhi Sultanate. So it was an Islamic empire based in Delhi, and the foundation was laid by Gauri and succeeded by Kutubuddin Aibak. The Delhi Sultanate was ruled by five different dynasties. First one is Mamluk or slave dynasty who ruled from 1206 to 1290. Then Khilji dynasty who ruled from 1290 to 1320. Then Tughlaq dynasty who ruled from 1320 to 1400, uh, 1414. Then Sayyid dynasty ruled from 1414 to 1451. And then Lodi dynasty ruled from 1451 to 1526. Uh, the first three dynasty, Slave, Khilji, and Tughlaq, were Turkish origin, and the last two dynasties, Sayyid and Lodi, were of Afghan origin. And the order of the ruling Delhi for longest period of time is Tughlaq dynasty ruled uh, for more than 90 years. Then slave dynasty, then Lodi dynasty, then Sayyid dynasty, and in last the Khilji dynasty. So the Khilji dynasty ruled Delhi Sultanate for a very short span of time among these dynasties. The 320 years long Sultanate rule led to social, cultural, and administrative changes in India. Here is the territorial map of five dynasty of Delhi Sultanate. During the slave dynasty, that they controlled from Bengal region to uh, Multan region, and their territory, wa- their boundary was shared by Mongol rulers. And then Khilji dynasty, during the time of Khilji dynasty, they made expedition to South India and captured South Indian territory also. During Tughlaq dynasty, they made further expedition and captured more territory. But in the Tughlaq dynasty, the disintegration of empire started, and during the time of Sayyid dynasty ruled very small territory, and they shared their border with Timurid Empire. And same with Lodi dynasty, they also ruled the same territory as Sayyid dynasty, and they shared the boundary with Timurid Empire. So now let's start the slave dynasty. Slave dynasty ruled from 1206 to 1290. Uh, the rulers, there were 11 rulers in slave dynasty, and the rulers of the slave dynasty were struggled to consolidate the empire as there were large number of rebellion. So there was their prime focus was to consolidate empire rather than expansion. And with the death of every ruler of slave dynasty, many nobles declared themselves as independent kingdom. And next successive ruler uh, started suppressing the revolt of these noble. So focus was on consolidation of empire rather than territorial expansion. The important ruler of slave dynasty were Kutubuddin Aibak, who ruled from 1206 to 1210. Then Iltutamish ruled from 1210 to 1236, and he started the first Ilbari dynasty. He was from Ilbari tribe, and after him, six blood relative of Iltutamish ruled the Delhi Sultanate, and after that, Balban took the charge of Delhi Sultanate in 1266 to 1287, and he started the second Ilbari dynasty. He was also from the Ilbari tribe, but not he was not the blood relative of Iltutmish. And in the second Ilbari dynasty, there were three rulers. Uh, uh, One is Balban, and two other were blood relative of Balban. Abbak was sold as a child slave and later was purchased by Gauri. He was also known as Lakh Bach for his unbound generosity. Qutbuddin Aibak. He ruled from 1206 to 1210 AD. He attacked Solanki kingdom in 1197, and after the defeat of Solanki dynasty, the ruler of Solanki dynasty Bhima II fled the city. But Qutbuddin Aibak did not annex the kingdom. So in Solanki dynasty, we have seen ruler Bhima I who escaped uh, when when Ghazni attacked on when Ghazni raided Somnath temple. Then there was Queen Nike Devi who defeated Muhammad Gauri, and then again Bhima too. So there was Bhima one and Bhima two. Bhima one fled when Ghazni, Ghazni attacked the Gujarat region, and Bhima too fled when Qutbuddin Aibak under Muhammad Gauri attacked Gujarat region. Aibak declared his independence in 1206 after the death of Muhammad Gauri and took the title of Sultan, but he nominally acknowledged the suzerainty of Muhammad Gauri's successor Ghiyasuddin Mahmud. Qutbuddin Aibak led an expedition to the west and defeated both Multan ruler Nasruddin Kupcha and Ghazni ruler Tajuddin Ildoj. To stabilize control over Afghanistan and India, he established his capital at Lahore. And for strong control of Indian territory, he made Delhi as his administrative center. Uh, he built Adhai Din Ka Jhopda. It is a mosque at Ajmer, and it was originally a Sanskrit college which was set up by Chauhan king Vigr, Vigr Raja. Vigr Raja. And the work started after the Second Battle of Panipat 1192, and the college was converted into a mosque in uh, 2.5 days. In in अढ़ाई in ढाई days. So it was named as अढ़ाई दिन का झोपड़ा. But the mosque was finally completed in 1199 AD. He built Quwwatul Islam Mosque. The construction of mosque started in 1192 AD at Delhi, and he also started the construction of Qutub Minar in 1199 AD, um, next to Quwwatul Islam Mosque. And there was disagreement in historian regarding uh, naming of Qutub Minar. Some says it was named after the Qutubuddin Aibak, and others says it was named after the Sufi saint Qutubuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki. That it was built. So some historians says it was built in the honor of Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki. But the fact was, when the construction of Qutub Minar started, it was year 1199, and at that time, Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki was hardly 27 year old, and he was not even in India at that time. So probably, and he was not famous saint at that time in 1199. So probably Kutubuddin Aibak started named Qutub Minar based on his own name, not on Kutubuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki. And it was built after destroying the 27 Hindu and Jain temple. The successor of Bakhtiyar Khilji became subordinate to Delhi Sultanate during the time of Kutubuddin Aibak. Bakhtiyar Khilji established the Khilji dynasty at Bengal region, and after his death in 1206, later his successor accepted the overlordship of Delhi Sultanate. In 1210, while Kutubuddin Aibak was playing Chaugan, Chaugan was like horse polo, and he was playing horse polo at Lahore. And at that time, his horse fell and he got severely injured. And after some time, he died. Kutubuddin Aibak was buried at Anarkali Bazaar, Lahore. He was succeeded by his son Aramsa, but later Aramsa was killed by Iltutmish. Iltutmish was slave and son-in-law of Aibak, and at that time Iltutmish was governor of Badaयूं, and Iltutmish was from Ilbari type. Court person of Kutubuddin Aibak. There are there were two important court person of Kutubuddin Aibak. One is Hassan Nizami. He was Persian poet and historian. He came to India from Iran after a conflict was going on in Iran, and to impress Kutubuddin Aibak and get work in the royal court, he wrote history of Delhi Sultanate in his work Tajul Masir, and it was in Persian language. And Tajul Masir was the first official history of Delhi Sultanate. It gives the description of time period from 1192 AD to 1227 AD. This book starts with the second battle of Panipat, 1192. Uh, Hassan Nizami did not mention about the first battle of Panipat because in that battle Gauri and Aibak got defeated, and he did not want to make them anger with describing first battle of Panipat. So he started his book with second battle of Panipat. In his book, he gave a detailed description of event from 1192 to 1196, but the coverage of events post 1196 was not satisfactory. He also described the reign of the next ruler Iltutmish. The another important court person of Qutbuddin Aibak was Fakhr-i Mudabbir. Fakhr-i Mudabbir was a Persian writer who worked in the court of Qutbuddin Aibak. He also worked under Ghazni, Gauri, and Delhi Sultanate. His work was Sajarai Ansab. Sajarai Ansab was the tree of genealogies, and he also wrote Adab al Harab wal Saja. And Adab al Harab wal Saja was the etiquette of war and valor. Iltutmish. Uh, Iltutmish ruled from 1210 AD to 1236 AD, and he was the third Sultan of Delhi. Iltutmish was from Ilbari tribe. He killed Aram Shah to become the next Sultan, and he shifted the capital from Lahore to Delhi. The capital was established at Lahore by Kutubuddin Aibak, and it was Iltutmish who shifted the capital from Lahore to Delhi. But with his succession, Rajput rulers declared independence. Bengal declared independence under the leadership of Ali Mardan Khan. Multan declared independence under the leadership of Kubacha. Later, Kubacha captured Lahore and some territory of Punjab. Even at Delhi, some nobles were not ready to accept Iltutmish as the Sultan. So, and during his time, Khwarizm Empire of Iran extended up to Indus River, and in order to protect the kingdom from the Khwarizm Empire, Iltutmish captured Lahore and established his army at Lahore. But before the Khwarizm Empire attacked Delhi Sultanate, the Khwarizm Empire was attacked by Mongol leader Genghis Khan. In 1218, Genghis Khan attacked the Khwarizm Empire and started ruling a territory from China in east to Black Sea in west, including Iran, Iraq, and some portion of Syria region. So Mongol start controlling a large territory. In 1221, a battle start on the bank of Indus River between Genghis Khan and Jalaluddin Mingburnu. Jalaluddin Mingburnu was ruler of Khwarizm Empire. Later, Jalaluddin Mingburnu sought asylum from Iltutmish. Iltutmish denied the asylum to Jalaluddin as now the kingdom of Iltutmish had started sharing border with Mongol ruler, mainly with Genghis Khan. So Genghis Khan was contemporary to Iltutmish. And after the Mongol attacks, the ruler of Multan, Kupcha, became weak, and Iltutmish took advantage of this and captured Multan territory. So the territory during the reign of Iltutmish, the territory was from Bengal to Indus River in west. Bengal region was captured by his son, who defeated New Bengal ruler Iwaj or Sultan Ghiyasuddin. Iltutmish also captured the Rajasthan region, but he was failed to capture Gujarat region because he was defeated by Solanki of Gujarat. Iltutmish was the first Sultan ruler to take the title of Sultan, which was approved by Abbasid Caliphate Al Mustansir. And Iltutmish made changes in administration. He replaced ministerial system with Tur- Turkane-Chehalgani or Chalisa. Uh, in ministerial system, uh, not only Turk but um, Afghan Muslim and anyone can be minister or noble. But in Turkane Chehalgani, only Turkish people can become noble. So he believed that he was from Turkish origin. So he believed that the the people of Turkish ethnicity will be more loyal to him. So he started Turkane Chehalgani. He introduced silver tanka and copper jital coin. It was Arabic coin with weight 175 gram. He also introduced ICTA system. ICTA system was revenue collection by noble instead of getting salary. So it was a centralized system to eliminate feudal lords, local feudal lords. And Because of these administrative changes and ruling from uh, the capital at Delhi, he is considered as real founder of Delhi Sultanate. He completed the construction of Qutub Minar, which was started by Qutubuddin Aibak, and built Hauj Samsi Reservoir south of Qutub Minar. Regarding Qutub Minar, Qutubuddin Aibak started the work and he completed only first story. The second, third, and fourth stories were completed by Iltutmish. But in uh, but in 1369 AD, lightning hit the Qutub Minar, and at that time Firoz Shah Tughlaq repaired it and added the fifth story. And later, Sher Shah Suri added an entrance to Qutub Minar. So there was five stories in Qutub Minar. First was by Qutubuddin Aibak, second, third, and fourth by Iltutmish, and fifth one was by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So five-story Qutub Minar, or you can correlate it with five-star Minar or five-story Qutub Minar. Iltutmish. He began construction of Hamiduddin Khanqa and he built the Gandhak Ki Bauli. Gandhak Ki Bauli was a step well and it was for the Sufi saint Kutubuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki. And Kutubuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki came to Delhi during the reign of Iltutmish in 1221. So, Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki did not came to India during the reign of Qutbuddin Aibak, and that's why I said that Qutub Minar was probably named after Qutbuddin Aibak because at that time Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki was around 27-year-old and he was not famous saint at that time, and he was not in India at that time also. In 1231, Iltutmish erected the Sultangari funerary monument, and in memory of his eldest son Nasruddin, who died 2 years earlier. And Sultangari is the first Islamic mausoleum in India or in Delhi. So it was first tomb in India, so it was important to remember. And before this, Kutubuddin Aibak and other leaders were buried simply under the ground without any uh, tomb or mausoleum. So the first tomb in India was Sultangari tomb. Atrin ka darwaja. He also built Atrin ka darwaja at Nagpur in 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 he also built Atrin ka darwaja at Nagaur, not Nagpur, Nagaur in Jodhpur region, and he built many mosques and Idgah. His last military expedition was against Bayana. He became ill and was immediately brought to Delhi for treatment, and finally he died in 1236 and was buried at Mahroli Qutub complex without any tomb. In simple manner. He buried in a simple manner. The titles taken by Iltutmish. He took many titles in Persian language. He took Hindgir. Hindgir means conqueror of Hind. Then he took Sultan Salatin as-Sark. Sark meaning east. So he took the title of Sultan of the Sultans of the East. He also took title of Sahi Sark, King of the East, and he took title of Sahansa. Sahansa means King of Kings, and he took two Sanskrit title. One is Sultan Sri Samsadin, and another one was Tursa Tursakadi Pamadala Pamadaladan. Tursakadi Pamadaladan. And it means the Turkus Lord. He was in Turkish origin, so he took the title of Turkus Lord in Sanskrit language also. Razia Sultan. Razia Sultan ruled from 1236 to 1239 AD, and he was fifth Sultan of Delhi Sultanate. Razia Sultan was the first female Muslim ruler of the subcontinent and the only female Muslim ruler of Delhi. While leaving for his Gwalior campaign in 1231, Iltutmish left his daughter Razia as in charge of Delhi administration. Razia performed her duties so well that after returning to Delhi, Iltutmish decided to name her as his successor, as all other sons were used to live luxurious life and incapable in administration. So Iltutmish believed on Razia Sultan that she was a good administrator and she can rule the Delhi Sultanate. Although Iltutmish nominated Razia as his heir, but after the death of Iltutmish, Razia's half brother Rukan, Ruknuddin Firoz succeeded to throne with the help of nobles. When Ruknuddin marched to the Punjab region to suppress the revolt in Punjab region, the throne of Delhi was captured by Razia Sultan, and later she imprisoned Ruknuddin after his return from Punjab region. He start appointing non-Turkish people to higher posts who were loyal to Razia Sultan, including the appointment of Yakut. Yakut was an African slave and he was appointed as the head of royal horses. And this created resentment among Turkish noble or Chahal Ghani because the higher post was held by Turkish people uh, during that time, and appointing non-Turkish people was not accepted by Turkish nobles. She also discarded the female apparels and held court with her face unveiled. She even started leading the army in the battlefield. So these are the points that were not liked by nobles. Uh, and during her time, revolt happened at many places, and she led the army to suppress revolt. And after suppressing the rebellion at Lahore, she led her army to Sirhind to suppress revolt at Sirhind, where she was imprisoned by uh, governor of Punjab, Altunia. Later, she married Altunia, and uh, with the help of Altunia, she attempted to regain the throne, but was defeated by her half brother and successor Mujauddin Bahram in October that year and was killed shortly after. Delhi Sultanate was ruled by Bahram after Razia, and Bahram was succeeded by Masood. Nasruddin Mahmud. He was the eighth Sultan of Delhi Sultanate. Not so important, but there was an historian, Minaj-e-Siraj. He was important. Uh, Nasruddin Mahmud. When nobles, including Balban, found Masood as tyrant ruler. They replaced Masood. Masood was grandson of Iltutmish with Nasruddin Mahmud. Nasruddin Mahmud was son of Iltutmish. So when Masood became tyrant, so at that time Noble replaced Masood with Nasruddin Mahmud. He- Nasruddin Mahmud ascended the throne at the age of 17. He lived a very simple life. He used to write the Quran and sell these handwritten Quran for his personal expenses. During his reign, the state affairs were dealt with by Ghasuddin Balban. Balban married his daughter to Nasruddin Mahmud, and it was Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud's wife who used to cook food for the Sultan family. And all this is because of simplicity of Sultan, who used to live a very simple life. For his personal expenses, he used to write Quran sell, and used to sell these handwritten Quran. And For family, his wife used to cook food. His court historian was Minaj Siraj. He was Persian historian, and Minaj Siraj was important because during the reign of Iltutmish, Minaj Siraj was appointed as Qazi, but later Minaj Siraj became court historian during the reign of Nasruddin Mahmud. And Minaj Siraj wrote Tabakat-e-Nasiri, and Tabakat-e-Nasiri is account for reign of Nasruddin Mahmud, and it was not account of reign of Nasruddin Mahmud only, but Tabakat-e-Nasri start with the father of Prophet Muhammad, and then the Tabak Tabak-e-Nasri describes many dynasty, including Ghazni, Gauri, Mongol, and slave dynasty, including Balban. So Tabakht Nasri is the only account that describes the Khilji rebellion in Bengal region in the year 1230. It was not Jalaluddin Khilji or Alauddin Khilji. It was successor of Bakhtiyar Khilji in Bengal region who rebelled in 1230 AD. So Tabakat-e-Nasri is the only account that describes the Khilji rebellion in Bengal region in 1230 AD. So the book was very important, Tabakat-e-Nasri, and it was written by Minaj-e-Siraj. Ghiyasuddin Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban ruled from 1266. Ghiyasuddin Balban ruled from 1266 AD to 1287 AD, and he was the ninth Sultan of Delhi Sultanate. He was purchased by Iltutmish as a slave. In 1266, Nasruddin Mahmud died without any heirs, and the Sultanate was succeeded by his father-in-law Ulugh Khan. He took the name of Ghiyasuddin Balban to rule the Sultanate. He spent his time in the consolidation of empire. Being a member of Chehalgani, he was aware of the power of nobles to dethrone any sultan. That nobles, Chehalgani member can dethrone any sultan. So he start executing the non-loyal member of Chehalgani. He spared only the obedient nobles and eliminated the rest. And to deal with the threat of Mongol, he established a separate military department, Diwane-Urj. He established military post Thana at the outskirts of Delhi to deal with Mewati raids. Mewati is region in Haryana, and people people residing in that region were known as Mewati. So they used to rob the outskirt of Delhi region, and to deal with that, uh, Ghiyasuddin Balban established military post or thana at the outskirts of Delhi region, and he brutally executed the Mewatis and made the road safe for travelers. And to create the discipline and stop revolt, he spread that he started saying that the Sultan was uh, God's shadow, God's shadow on earth and a recipient of divine grace. So once he was a slave, now he started claiming that he was the God's shadow on earth to get the respect from nobles and other citizens. He also introduced Nowruz. Nowruz was Persian festival. Then he introduced Pavos. Pavos was kissing Sultan's feet, and Sajda. Sajda was uh, prostra- prostration, and it was like Dandvat Pradhan. So he introduced these things uh, to get more respect from nobles and other citizens. Ghiyasuddin Balban, his elder son died on Western Front uh, while defending the territory from Mongol attack, and younger son Bughara Khan was governor of Bengal region. After the death of Ghiyasuddin Balban, his son Bukhara Khan declared independence of Bengal region, and the Sultanate was ruled by grandson of Ghiyasuddin Balban named Kaikubad. Kaikubad was son of Bukhara Khan. Originally, Ghiyasuddin Balban want to want to be succeeded by Bukhara Khan, but Bukhara Khan rejected the proposal. Then Ghiyasuddin Balban selected uh, the son of his elder son. But it was the noble who selected Keku, Kekubad as next Sultan, and Kekubad was son of Bukhara Khan, who was the ruler of Bengal region. When Kekubad falls sick, his 3-year-old son Kumers becomes Sultan, and in 1290 both Kekubad and his 3-year-old son Kumars were killed by Khilji noble Jalaluddin Khilji, and the slave dynasty came to an end with the death of Kekubad and New Khilji dynasty become the Sultan of Delhi. So it was the uh, Qamars, Commerce who was the last slave ruler of Delhi Sultanate, but sometime people also mention Kekubad because he was only 3-year-old and he was ruling because his father was sick. So, but both were living at that time. So there was Kekubad and Commerce, both were killed by Jalaluddin Khilji in 1290. So this is the end of lecture. Thank you.